People at the bank could not stop laughing when the woman asked to see the manager. She was not yelling. She was not causing a scene. She just stood there quietly, holding a brown folder, while the bank teller ignored her and served 3 other people who had come in after her. No one could imagine that this woman who looked so calm and quiet was about to change everything in less than 10 minutes. Her name was Selina Ward. She was dressed in business casual clothes, nothing too expensive, nothing flashy. Her natural hair was pulled back into a low puff. She carried herself with quiet confidence, but she did not look like someone powerful. That was exactly what made people underestimate her. Selina had come to the bank to finalize a few documents. What she did not expect was to be treated like a problem the moment she walked through the door. The teller, a young woman named Brielle, looked Selina up and down and said, "Do you have an appointment?" Selina smiled and replied kindly, "I have some documents to submit to the branch manager. It will only take a minute." Brielle sighed, rolled her eyes slightly, and waved a finger toward the line. "You will have to wait. Other customers are ahead of you." That would have been fine, except Selina was the only one there when she arrived. As more people walked in, Brielle greeted them with a smile and asked how she could help. A man in a suit who came in after Selina was taken straight to another counter. A woman with a designer bag was offered a seat while her paperwork was handled. But Selina, she stood there with the same patient smile while Brielle pretended not to see her. Selina took a step closer and said, "I believe I was here first." Brielle looked up with fake confusion and said, "Oh, were you? Sorry, I did not notice." Then she turned back to her screen, completely ignoring Selina again. Selina waited another 5 minutes before she calmly asked, "May I speak with the branch manager, please?" Brielle scoffed. "The manager is very busy. Do you even have an account here?" "I do," Selina said simply. Another voice cut in. It was a security guard, Raymond, who had been standing near the entrance the whole time. "Ma'am, if you are causing problems, I am going to have to ask you to leave." Selina turned her head slowly. "I asked to speak with the manager. That is not causing a problem." "You are disturbing our process," Raymond said, stepping forward. "Other customers are trying to do their business." Someone in the line muttered, "Just let them handle it, lady. You are holding us up." Selina nodded slightly and looked at the clock on the wall. It had been 12 minutes since she arrived. She opened her folder and pulled out one paper. Then she said something that made the entire lobby go quiet. "Please inform the branch manager that Selina Ward, CEO of Marlowe Financial Holdings, is here for an unannounced inspection. If I am not assisted in the next 2 minutes, this location will be closed until further notice." The silence in the room was sharp. Brielle blinked fast and said, "What?" "Wait, what did you say?" Selina calmly held up the paper. "This is the ownership transfer form. As of last week, Marlowe Holdings acquired this branch and 4 others in this region. I am here to evaluate operations. You have failed that." "Evaluation?" Someone in the line let out a low whistle. Brielle stuttered. You are the CEO." "I am," Selina said, "and I just gave you a clear instruction. Now, is your branch manager available, or do I make the call to shut this location down?" Raymond took a step back. His face had gone pale. At that moment, a door opened from the side office, and a man in a gray blazer stepped out. "What is going on out here?" he asked. Selina looked at him with cool eyes. "Are you the branch manager?" He looked confused. "Yes, I am Glenn Rosner. And you are?" "Selina Ward, CEO of Marlowe Financial Holdings." Glenn blinked. "Wait, what?" Selina handed him the paper. He took it, looked at it, then turned it over as if trying to find some mistake. This cannot be real." "It is very real," Selina said. "I came here to observe how my staff treats clients. This branch failed completely." Glenn's face changed from confusion to panic. "Ms. Ward, if we had known—" "You would have pretended to care?" Selina asked. "That is not how leadership works. I do not want people who only treat customers well when someone is watching. I want people who treat everyone with respect because that is the standard." Glenn started to sweat. "Please, give me a moment. We can talk about this in private." "There is nothing private about this," Selena said. "I was humiliated in front of your entire lobby. You, your teller, and your security guard all watched it happen. And not one of you thought to step in or apologize." Brielle was shaking now. She said softly, I did not mean to offend. I just thought—" "You thought I was nobody," Selena said. "You made a decision based on how I looked. That is discrimination, and it has no place in this company." Raymond tried to defend himself. "Ma'am, I was just doing my job." "Your job," Selena said, "is to keep the peace, not to escalate situations based on assumptions." By now, customers in the lobby were watching silently. Some had their ENA phones out, recording. Selena took a breath. "I will be calling an emergency review with headquarters. Until that happens, this branch will be under suspension. All operations are paused, and every staff member is to remain here for questioning." Glenn tried to keep calm. "Ms. Ward, we can fix this. Let us just talk." "No," Selena said. "Now sit down. I will conduct the interviews myself. One by one." She called each employee into the manager's office. She asked them the same questions. "What is your role here? How do you ensure every customer is treated fairly? What training have you completed in the last year?" Brielle cried during her interview. "Please, I need this job. I did not know who you were. I swear, I am not like that." Selena wrote something in her notebook and said, "It is not about who I am. It is about who you are when no one is watching." Raymond said, "I was just trying to protect the bank," Selena asked. "And what was I doing that needed protection from? Asking for help?" Raymond had no answer. When it came time for Glenn, the branch manager, he was shaking. "This branch has been under pressure. We are short-staffed. I know it looks bad, but I promise we are good people." Selena nodded. "I will let the regional director know that. But understand this. I did not become CEO by accepting excuses. I believe in accountability." He asked quietly, "Are we all going to be fired?" Selena stood. "That depends on the full report I send. But I can tell you this, at least one person in this room will not be working here tomorrow." As the clock ticked on, the weight of her words settled over the staff like a storm about to break. She walked out of the office and back into the lobby. The customers who were still there parted silently as she passed. Selena stopped by the exit, turned around, and said to everyone listening, "This bank belongs to people, real people. You never know who you are serving. So treat every single person with dignity. That is not a request. That is a requirement." She walked out. 10 minutes. Later, her phone rang. It was the regional director. What Selena said next would change the lives of everyone in that branch forever. Selena stepped into the backseat of her car just as her phone buzzed. The screen lit up with the name Clinton Roy, regional director. She answered without hesitation. "Clinton," she said. "Selena," he replied quickly, voice tense. "Hi. Just received your message about the Brighton branch. Are you serious?" Selena stared out the car window at the building she had just walked out of. "Completely. I witnessed firsthand how they treat people. I was ignored, dismissed, and nearly thrown out. This is not the first time we have had complaints about that location, and I am done giving second chances." "I understand," Clinton said carefully. "But firing an entire branch team? That is a serious decision. We will have to replace them, train new people." "And that is better," Selena interrupted, "than keeping people who treat customers like trash just because they do not look wealthy enough. That team forgot what business we are in. We serve people, not their clothes, not their credit scores. People." There was a pause. Then Clinton said, "Understood. I will notify HR, but there will be questions. We need to document this clearly." "I already started," Selena said. "I recorded everything. I interviewed each staff member. I have their answers, their reactions, and video footage from customers." Clinton let out a long breath. "All right. I will support you fully. Just keep your phone on. This one will make noise." Selina hung up and leaned back in her seat. Her driver, Terrence, glanced at her through the rearview mirror. "Everything all right, Ms. Ward?" She nodded slowly. "It will be." She looked back at the bank one last time before the car pulled away. Meanwhile, inside the Brighton branch, panic had taken hold. Brielle sat frozen at her desk, her hands trembling. She stared at the computer screen, but the words made no sense. Glenn, the manager, had locked himself in his office. Raymond paced near the front door, checking his watch every few seconds, muttering, "This cannot be happening." A younger teller named Lucia looked around and whispered, "Do you think she was serious about shutting the branch down?" No one answered. At headquarters, Selina arrived and was greeted with urgent stares and quiet whispers. News of what had happened at the Brighton branch was already spreading. She headed straight to the conference room, where two members of the CAS HR leadership team were waiting, Danielle Cross and Gerald Poole. Both looked tense, but ready. Danielle said, "We reviewed the footage from the security cameras. It is bad," Gerald added. "Selina, I support your decision, but we have to move carefully. Terminating an entire team will draw attention." "Good," Selina said. "Let it draw attention. Let everyone know that behavior like that will not be protected." Danielle opened a folder. "Based on your report, we are looking at full-term terminations for Glenn, Brielle, and Raymond. Lucia may be kept. She had no part in the incident and tried to speak up." Selina nodded. "Good. Keep her. We need people like her." That afternoon, official emails were sent to every employee at the Brighton branch. A mandatory team meeting would take place at 9 a.m. the following morning with corporate representatives. No one was told what it was about, but the fear was heavy. Brielle called her older sister that evening, sobbing. "I messed up," she said through tears. "I did not know who she was. I was just tired, and she looked like someone who would waste time. I did not mean it that way." Her sister was quiet for a while. Then she said, "That is exactly the problem, Brielle. You did not think. You judged her without reason." Raymond also made some calls. His cousin worked at another bank and told him flat out, "You are going to be blacklisted if this hits the news." Glenn, the branch manager, called his contact at corporate, but even he was met with silence. The next morning, the entire team gathered in the conference room at the Brighton branch. Everyone was nervous, dressed in their best clothes, pretending. Everything was normal. At exactly 9 a.m., Selina walked in with Clinton and two HR representatives. She did not smile. She did not greet anyone. "Let me make this simple," Selina said. "What happened yesterday is unacceptable. It reflects a culture that has been tolerated for too long. That changes now." Glenn stood up. "Ms. Ward, if I may explain," Selina raised a hand. "You may not. You had your chance. This is not a discussion." She turned to the HR reps. "Proceed." Danielle stepped forward with a folder. "Glenn, Rosner, Brielle Nichols, and Raymond Case. Your employment with Marlowe Financial Holdings is terminated, effective immediately. You will be escorted from the premises today." Gasps filled the room. Brielle began crying again. Raymond's jaw clenched as he looked away. Glenn sank into his chair. Selina continued, "You will receive your final pay and benefits package in accordance with your contracts. Any attempt to interfere with company property, systems, or clients during this transition will result in legal action." Lucia stood quietly at the back. Selina looked at her and gave a small nod. "To the rest of you," Selina said, "we will be rebuilding this branch, starting with new values and proper training. If you stay, know this: your job is to treat every person who walks through those doors with fairness and respect. No exceptions. No excuses." After the meeting, the three terminated employees were led out. Brielle refused to make eye contact. Glenn tried to shake Selina's hand, but she simply looked at him and said, "You should have known better." Later, that afternoon, Selina received an email from the Public Relations Department. Several videos had been posted online by customers at the bank during the incident. One video in particular had gone viral. It showed Selina standing calmly as the teller ignored her, followed by the moment she revealed her identity. The internet reacted quickly. Thousands of comments poured in. She handled that with class and power, respect. This is exactly why we need more people like her in leadership. Do not ever judge someone by how they look. She proved that big time. Amazing story. So glad she held them accountable. Selina closed the laptop and smiled for the first time that day. By the end of the week, the branch had a new interim manager, and interviews were being held for new hires. Selina personally visited the branch again and spoke with customers. One woman, an older lady named Mrs. Franklin, approached her with a warm smile. "I saw what you did. I was there that day. I want to thank you." "For what?" Selina asked. "For standing up for people like me," Mrs. Franklin said. "I have been coming to this bank for 20 years, and lately it has felt cold. But you reminded them, and us, that people matter." Selina nodded. "Thank you. That means a lot." But just as Selina was preparing to leave, she received an unexpected call. It was from the head of a rival financial institution, someone she had not spoken to in years. His voice came through the phone smooth and direct. "Selina Ward, I heard what you did. Impressive." "Why are you calling?" she asked. "I want to meet," he said, "because if you think Brighton was bad, you have not seen what is happening in some of my branches." Selina raised an eyebrow. "I am listening," she said. And with that, a new door opened, one that would take Selina far beyond one branch and into something much bigger. Selina held the phone to her ear, her mind already racing. The voice on the other end, calm, confident, and oddly familiar, was one she had not heard in almost 5 years. "Selina," he repeated, "this industry needs people like you. I have been watching from the sidelines. What you did at Brighton. That was the kind of leadership people remember." Selina narrowed her eyes. "You never call without a reason, Vincent." "What do you want?" Vincent Carlo chuckled, still as sharp as ever. "Look, I am not going to waste your time. I want to meet. There is a mess brewing in my own house. A branch in Kingston Heights is out of control. It is bigger than what happened at Brighton. I need you to see it. You are the CEO of Larchwood Trust. You have your own executives." "Why me?" "Because you do not sugarcoat anything, and frankly, people talk when you make a move. The press is still eating up your Brighton cleanup. Your name has weight now, and you actually care about the people at the bottom of the ladder. My team, some of them forgot who we serve." Selina paused, then said, "I will meet you, but if this is just some publicity stunt, I am walking. No cameras." "No press," Vincent assured her. "Just come see for yourself." Selina hung up, feeling a storm quietly forming on the horizon. 2 days later, she walked through the glass doors of the Kingston Heights branch of Larchwood Trust. It looked polished on the outside, but the energy inside was off. The staff barely looked up. Some were chatting loudly behind the counter. An older man stood in line, clearly confused, and no one offered to help. Selina watched silently before approaching the reception desk. "Excuse me," she said softly. "That gentleman has been standing there for over 5 minutes." The receptionist rolled her eyes. "He is not in our system." Selina's lips tightened. "That does not mean you leave him standing alone." The woman barely reacted. "He probably walked in by mistake." Selina turned toward the man, walked over, and asked, "Sir, can I help you?" The man smiled gently. "Yes, I was sent here to verify a loan document for my granddaughter, but they told me to wait." "I will make sure someone helps you," Selina said. That moment, Vincent entered the branch and spotted her. "Ah, Selina," he said, offering a handshake. "Glad you made it." Selina nodded toward the staff behind the counter. "They did not even look up when I walked in. Is this normal?" "Worse than I thought," Vincent said, his tone low. "Come with me." He led her to a conference room in the back and closed the door. "I had 3 formal complaints in the last month," he explained. 2 elderly customers said they were spoken to like children. A black single mother said she was told to go to a cheaper bank. And last week, a veteran was denied access to his own account. said they questioned if he was really the account holder. Selena leaned forward. "And what did your branch manager say?" "That he would handle it internally." "That is code for nothing." Selena shook her head. "You have got a culture problem, and I can already tell no one is scared of consequences." Vincent sighed. "You think you can fix it?" "I will not just fix it," Selena said. "I will burn the whole thing down and rebuild it the right way. But I do it my way. Full access. Total control." Vincent hesitated, then nodded. "Do what you have to do." The next morning, Selena returned. Not as a guest, but as a silent auditor. She stood behind the service counters, took notes, and observed. Within 1 hour, she had enough. The branch manager, a woman named Cameron Dorse, had spent most of the morning talking to her assistant about vacation plans. When Selena asked her why 3 customers had walked out without being helped, Cameron responded, "Not everyone's a real client. You can tell who is serious." Selena's voice was calm. "Is that how you were trained?" Cameron shrugged. "I have been doing this long enough. You just learn to spot the ones who waste time." Selena's expression hardened. "You just described 3 elderly clients with existing accounts who were here to ask for assistance. One of them is a retired professor with over $200,000 in this branch. The second is a local small business owner. And the third is someone's grandmother." Cameron's smile faded. Selena continued, "You're not just dismissing people. You're quietly teaching your team to do the same, and I will not let that continue." She stepped into the center of the branch, raised her voice, and said, "May I have everyone's attention?" The staff stopped. Even the receptionist dropped her phone. "My name is Selena Ward. Some of you know who I am. Some of you do not. But by the end of today, you all will." Whispers spread across the room. "I was invited here by your CEO to observe your operations. What I saw is not just disappointing, it is dangerous. People are not treated with dignity. Assumptions are made based on age, race, clothing, and tone. And let me be clear, that is not just lazy, it is discriminatory." Cameron tried to speak, but Selena stopped her. "I am not interested in explanations. What I care about is what happens next." She held up a thick file. "In here are transcripts of customer complaints, video footage, and full reports. This has been going on long before today." Then she turned to Vincent, who had just entered. "It is your call now." Vincent nodded slowly. "Cameron Dorse, your time with Larchwood Trust is over." Cameron's mouth fell open. "You cannot be serious." "You forgot why this job exists," Vincent replied. And Selena just reminded, "All of us," Selena addressed the rest of the team. "Change starts now. You either rise with it, or you get out of the way." As the day went on, Selena remained at the branch, personally reviewing files, speaking with clients, and listening to concerns from the few good employees who had felt powerless. By the end of the week, Selena had completely reorganized the branch. Leadership. She brought in a new manager from another city, someone with a strong history of ethical leadership. She hired 2 bilingual staff members to better serve the growing immigrant population. And she implemented a feedback program where every customer could rate their experience anonymously. One afternoon, Selena stood outside the branch as a young father walked out with his daughter. He smiled and said, "You are the reason this place feels different." "Thank you," Selena returned the smile. "That is why I do it." But she knew this was just one more step. Because now, word was spreading again. Her name was being shared on social media, and something else was coming. Her phone rang. It was a call from someone she never expected, a man named Ryland Dexton, CEO of one of the largest international banks in the world. "I saw what you did in Brighton. Then I saw what you did here," he said. "And?" Selena asked cautiously. "I want to offer you something bigger," Ryland said, "much bigger. But it is not going to be easy." Selena's voice was steady. "I am not looking for easy." "Good," Ryland replied, "because I want you to take over our entire East Coast division." Selena's breath caught for a moment. That division had over 300 branches. Ryland continued. If you are serious about changing the culture of banking, then this is where it starts. Selina looked down at her phone. She thought about every person who had ever been told they were not worth someone's time. She thought about Brighton, Kingston Heights, and all the voices who were never heard. Then she said, "Send me the details. I am in." The next morning, Selina sat at her kitchen table, staring at the formal email from Ryland Dexton's office. The subject line read, "Official appointment, Senior Executive, East Coast Division." Her hands hovered over the keyboard for a moment, before she typed a simple response, "Accepted, ready to begin." Within hours, her schedule filled up with onboarding sessions, transition meetings, and team briefings. The division she would be leading had over 300 branches, each with its own culture, challenges, and history. She knew this was not just a promotion, it was a test of everything she stood for. Her first order of business was simple. Listen. Selina created a confidential channel where any employee, from tellers to regional managers, could share their honest feedback about their branch, leadership, and customer issues. She made it clear no retaliation would be tolerated. By the end of the first week, her inbox had more than 400 messages. Some were heartbreaking. "My manager docks hours without telling us. Customers in wheelchairs are told to go to other branches because we do not have proper ramps. I was told to stop helping homeless people cash government checks." Selina printed out every email, read them all, and took notes. Then she scheduled surprise visits. Her first was to a branch in Newark, New Jersey, where an anonymous message had warned of racial profiling. When she arrived unannounced, she dressed in plain business attire and waited in line like any other customer. She watched two other people, both black, get questioned about their identification, while the white customers ahead of them were not asked the same. When it was her turn, she handed over an ID and asked about opening a new account. The teller barely smiled. "You got a job?" the teller asked flatly. Selina's eyes did not flinch. "Yes? Do you ask everyone that?" The teller shrugged. "Just checking." Selina asked for the branch manager. The woman behind the counter smirked and said, "He is busy." At that moment, Selina pulled out her corporate badge and placed it on the counter. The teller's eyes widened. "I am Selina Ward, your new regional executive," she said, her voice calm but sharp. "And I just witnessed a violation of our customer service policy and basic human respect." The branch manager came running out, apologizing before he even reached her. "I will fix this," he promised. "You had the chance to fix it," Selina replied. "You knew this was happening. You just hoped no one important would care." That evening, Selina met with HR and launched mandatory training for all frontline staff across the region. Not just on compliance, but on empathy, equity, and accountability. She made sure every team understood that they served people, not profiles. Weeks turned into months, and slowly the numbers began to change. Customer satisfaction rose across more than 100 branches. Complaints dropped by nearly 30%. Employee morale improved where new leadership was brought in. But it was not just about statistics. It was the stories that mattered most to Selina. There was the 19-year-old black student in Atlanta who wrote that she was finally treated with respect when she cashed a check. The disabled veteran in Virginia who cried in a survey comment after a branch installed a ramp. The Latina grandmother in Miami who was helped by a bilingual employee who made her feel seen. And then there was one message that shook Selina the most. It was a handwritten letter delivered to her office in a plain white envelope. "Dear Miss Selina, I do not know if you remember me, but months ago I was the old lady who was told to wait in the lobby at Brighton. I had no appointment. I just needed help cashing a small check from my late husband's pension. That day, no one even looked at me. But someone told me what happened after. They told me you stood up for people like me, that you did not just walk out angry, you made sure something changed. I went back last week, the same branch, and this time?" They smiled. They helped me. They even asked about my day. I walked out in tears, not because I was upset, but because I finally felt human again. Thank you. I do not know you, but I am proud of you. Yours truly, Marjorie L. Salina read it twice. Then she folded it and placed it in a frame on her desk. Later that month, she was invited to speak at a financial leadership summit in Washington, D.C. The room was filled with CEOs, bank presidents, and policymakers. But when Salina took the stage, she did not talk about money. She talked about moments. Moments when people are judged before being heard. Moments when someone chooses silence instead of standing up. Moments that seem small, but change lives. She told them about Brighton, about Kingston Heights, about the letter from Marjorie. And when she ended her speech, the room was silent, not from boredom, but reflection. As she stepped off the stage, Ryland Dexton met her with a quiet nod. "You did not just take over a division," he said. "You started a movement." Salina smiled. "The movement is not mine. It belongs to every person who ever got ignored, dismissed, or underestimated. I am just making sure their voices are finally heard." And then came the call from Congress. A committee on economic fairness wanted to hear from her. They said her model could reshape how banks treat underserved communities. They wanted her help drafting new national standards for service, access, and accountability. Salina did not hesitate. "Yes," she said, "but only if I get to bring real people to the table, the ones who have lived it." The following month, she walked into a federal hearing room, not alone, but with a small group of people, a retired teacher, a small business owner, a former waitress, a high school student, and a veteran. All of them had once been dismissed. All of them now sat at the front of the room, their stories officially entered into public record. Salina stood beside them, not above them, because that was always the point. Not power, not titles. Change. Real, human, permanent change, the kind that starts when one person refuses to stay silent, the kind that lasts because someone remembers what it felt like to be on the other side of the counter, the kind that begins with a woman who was once told, "We do not serve people like you," and ends with that same woman rewriting the rules for everyone.